Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Raptor Viewpoint. This is day 3 of the Lesvos vlogs, and it's what time is it now? It's about 12:30 in the afternoon. I've done a few bits and pieces. I've got a heck of a lot to catch up. Apologies for the weird angle, but I have to do it here in the shade where I can keep an eye on what's going on. Went for breakfast in the morning and chatting to all the birders, updates, saw the birders from last night because I promised them I'd airdrop them or email them a photo of the owls to say thank you very much, because nobody had their camera. I forgot to keep looking, and so I saw a couple of them. I emailed the photos to them, and they were super happy with that. They were very, very happy with it. So good. I'm trying to be as friendly to everybody as possible, because obviously everyone's going to remember everybody here. So if I come here in the future, you know, I'll know the faces, and I don't want to be remembered for anything, having any bad moments. So I'm trying to be as friendly as possible. Tell anybody I see of anything I see, I'm, you know, getting, hey, come over here, look at this. And so this is the point I'm getting at. Let me get this straight. So black stork for breakfast. Saw a black stork flying in, the best exposed flight shot so far, and sitting at my breakfast table. That was really, really good. So that's probably the most unusual thing besides all the usual house martins and greenfinch around the hotel. Then went to this particular location, which I've been told about, for scops and a long-eared owl in the daylight. And I went and I didn't see it. There was no other birders. I thought there'd be some birders there. I thought, am I even in the right place? There's the thing they'd said, and there's that. So I should be in the right place. Got in the car, thought, okay, another, misstep. Reversing out. And sorry, there's a lot of action here. I've got to keep my eyes open. Went to reverse out, and there was another photographer there, big lens. And I said, oh, and are you coming for that? And he said, the long-eared. I went, oh, the long-eared, you know where it is? He said, yeah, it's usually in these trees here. Oh, it's small trees, wow. And he said he was there this morning in low light, so he's back to get some better shots. So I looked, because he was looking, and I thought, really, is there really a long-eared owl in just this? Like, it didn't look like much. It was by some buildings. And there it was. I saw it, and it was so blatantly in your face there. A layup shot, only with a slight bit of twig to the side of it here. But it was, the bird shape was right there. Why were we looking so long for 5 minutes? It obviously didn't just land. Why? How were we walking past it? And I said to my wife, I called her later, and I said, it was probably because I was looking for it camouflaged against the trunk, but it wasn't. It was right out on a branch. I got tripod footage on the standard 4K. There wasn't any wind, so I managed to get the tripod footage. For a little bit of the 4K crop, right up to the face, it did a brief bit of movement and a brief bit of slight eye opening, like it was just briefly checking what was going on. Cars going by, people, it didn't disturb it. And I filled my boots with lots of photos. I got close enough that I could take portrait shots. Super happy with that. So I've got the scops from last night and the long-eared, two owl species, and I've heard about a barn owl species which is nesting somewhere in the village. So hopefully I'll be getting that too. There'll be 3 hours. Let's go. On the way to the Raptor Viewpoint, I wanted to stop at the Matochi Lake again to see if anything was going on, because there's reports of little bittern and all sorts of stuff there. So I give it a drive by. There was some birders there, but nothing. The heat haze was crazy. Didn't see anything apart from a mask shrike, 4K crop, serious heat haze, nothing really. I think a lot of the serious birders are the ones with scopes, and they're checking the reeds for those crakes. And in that heat haze, not going to make for great photos. So they're more serious than they're going to be looking for rarities that I just want to get numbers right now, because this is my first time. So they're more after the rarities. So I kind of saw nothing much was going on. But just on the south of the lake, before you get in there, the bee eaters are still there from yesterday, so that's their hot spot. I took some video of them sitting on the branches by the river, and they're constantly flying around. Also, I heard the great reed warbler. Did I say that right? Great reed warbler again. So that photo I took, which I was wondering, was it a great reed warbler? It was, because here's the song. There was some, I think it was a whitethroat in the background. I'd recorded a whitethroat earlier, so that went on the list. But the whitethroat, I think this is the whitethroat, because it was a smaller bird. The great reed warbler, bigger. I could see it flicking around in the bushes to my left. And along the path, I saw some sort of jay. I don't know what the subspecies is. And the mistake I made, I recorded it as a song thrush. I don't 100% know the difference, I must admit. But it was probably almost more than likely a nightingale. I forgot out here, nightingales are in full swing. So all the birds I've been, and I've always been using the BirdNet app to record audio from the birds to see what they are. Somebody said Merlin. I thought, you know what, while I'm here, get the Merlin app and see what it's all about. It's pretty good. Yeah, it makes a couple of mistakes. It said there was a wood pigeon. There wasn't a wood pigeon. It was recording a chaffinch as a house swallow, house martin, house sparrow. We got it in the end. So a couple of mistakes, but generally pretty accurate. And it was telling me that it could hear whitethroat and nightingale. So I'm on the lookout for nightingales, but these go on my list as herds. If I don't see it, it goes as a herd. And I might even have one for manage to photograph or video. And otherwise, like I got a spoonbill on the way there as well, but I only saw it because I was in the car. And then as I left that area, assume it's common kestrel. I'm not going to go for any subspecies like the lesser kestrel yet until I get positive ID, because I've made that mistake too many times in the past. But it's a different bird, a new raptor to add to the list that goes on my species list. I believe I'm at about 82 species. And this morning, I was speaking to people who have been here last year. I think they were here for 2 weeks, and they got 168 species. And I was currently at about 68. And I was like, that really lit a fire under me. I thought, right, if I've got most of the birds, most of the sort of obvious ones, and I'm at 68, and to think I've got 100 to go. Obviously, they had 2 weeks, but a little bit of a few, like a fire under me to get going. I only slept for 6 hours last night. I was having these bird dreams because I was like, okay, yeah, I'm raring to go. I've got 5 days, I can feel the clock ticking, and I want to get serious numbers of species. And then coming up on the way up to the raptor viewpoint, there's nowhere to stop. And it was so annoying because I kept seeing warblers and things in the tree line to the left. So I went around several times, and thank you Lesvos drivers, you're the local people here. You're great people. I love you to bits. Different to the Tenerife people. When I pull over and put my hazards on, you go around me. No beeping, no angriness, no sticking ups of hands and shaking and swearing and blah, blah, blah. Very kindly just go around me. Maybe you just know that birders are like this. They pull over for, out of nowhere and stick their camera out the window. But just to be not too bad, I would go up, spin the car around, drive down like crazy, turn around, come back. So I knew there was a gap either end. And then I'd go up, and first bird that I caught when I slammed on my brakes, cell bunting. So I've only ever seen that once before in Mallorca. And the cell bunting had a grub in its beak. Now there was a car coming up, so I couldn't take any videos. So up we went again, spun round, went back, spun round, come back again. And next up was a Eastern Orpheus warbler, blackhead. I recorded it singing, but I stupidly had it on my slow-mo, so no sound. But I got the species confirmed via another birder. But so it's pretty clear you can see there's a proper blackhead. He said it might be a whitethroat once when I described it, because a lot of people think they've got these weird warblers when it's just a whitethroat. But no, the head was very dark. And the photos I got, the beak off because I couldn't get the angle. And then up again, back again, spin around, came back. And I could see other things. Maybe there was even a Sardinian warbler, but I got a stone chat. It looks like a female stone chat. And I've been told it's not a subspecies. So it's just a European. But that goes on the list again. That bumps me up to plus 80. And yeah, that's that for now. And then while I was standing here and going to get my stuff from the car to record, I heard something going on over there. Went to the tree, photographed the whole bare tree, and to see what was in it. And I've seen the pictures, record shots, but you can clearly see what it is. It's a lifer for me. It's subalpine warbler with a grub. And there was a searle bunting next to it that I tried to do the pre-capture for flight shot, but it flew when I took my lens away to see I wasn't going to step on anything and break my leg. So missed the chance to get a flight shot of a cell bunting. It will come. And I think we are, yeah, finally caught up. It's always a worry because there is so much going on. I'm trying to keep my head on a swivel, but if I don't do this, my list of things to talk about gets so big, and then I have to find the time in the day. But I think this was good because I can see, this was a good time to do it because I can see quite far out, and I haven't heard any close birds. I've had my camera ready, so we're quiet here. We're going to go to the monastery, Ipsilou Monastery. So the first day somebody put up on the WhatsApp group that they saw tons of stuff, and it's well known. It's a hot spot on the birding places app. But somebody today said they went yesterday and it was dead. So that's birding for you. Don't think it's going to be really busy or really quiet. It's complete luck whether you get there at the right time or the wrong time. The best bet is to go 2 to 3 times, you know. So we're off there now. It's about a 40-minute drive, and we'll keep an eye out for anything else on the road. We're going to go down this road. I might just go up this road a little bit. There's a blue tit coming. They've got a net. It's got a nest in here, in this pagoda type thing. Obviously that's a Chinese word, so it's not. But whatever it is, it's great for cover because, yeah, even though it's only 22 degrees, I don't put lotion on. I like to look. There's my tan line. And the secret, guys, if you didn't know, if you do get burned, I can't believe a lot of people don't realize that's stupid because I only worked it out myself a few years ago. If you do get burned, the reason you're getting burned is because your skin is had all the moisture sucked out. So what you do is if you're burned that day, slather on just simply moisturizer. Go to bed all lathered up. I remember doing it the first time when I went to Costa Rica. I was bright red, and I woke up in the morning after doing that, and I looked normally tanned. It was insane. So that's all it is, just making you make sure you moisturize. And even do that, put the moisturizer on before you go out, because that will keep your skin from drying out, getting sunburned. So if you don't like using suntan lotion, moisturizer. Just put it on before, put it on after. Hot tip. And good early evening, late afternoon, folks. We're at the Ipsilou Monastery. Finally, it took us about 5 or 6 hours to get here because I just kept stopping, seeing all these great birds on the routes up in the mountains. Brilliant, yeah. I will say it's a tiny bit of a disappointment. The Birding EU app says this is one of the best spots for birds, and I've only got a few. I expected it to be heaving. As soon as you arrive, it's almost nothing. It's just the swallows flying around and chaffinch and things like that. I've got a couple of bits, but I mean, I've done it now. At least I know. The person I saw who did well here must have camped out all day, or it was much better in the morning because some other people said they came here and it was dead. So I've looked and I've put the time in, and I've got a little bit of something to show you, to tell you if it's worth it. I mean, yeah, I didn't feel right filming inside it. It's a very steep drive up, and then steep walk up or steps. So be prepared if you have that in camera and all your cameras and all your equipment. I didn't feel right filming inside. I filmed I filmed coming in, and then I filmed once I was out the other side and on the roof. I went up to the roof at first where they have the bells. The priests let me up to the top, and I walked around, filmed, and then I went right through. And there's a door that goes out. And if you're worried of heights, scared of heights, don't go through there because there's no barrier. But I'm cool with it. I've got a healthy fear of heights. So let's just wind all the way back to when I last spoke to you. When I finished at the Raptor viewpoint, I drove up the road about half a mile just to get a feel for it. And it started to get very woody. And I thought, not going to be much up there. I got the Merlin ID out, and it identified as a Serin calling. I turned it off and listened. Yep, Serin was calling. And there were just some goldfinch and greenfinch up there. Just a word, when you do come here, it's just an island full of crested larks, greenfinch, and swallows and swifts. Yeah, that's the sound you hear everywhere. And then you start getting into the countryside, and you hear lots of other goodies, but there are a few birds here that you'll see it everywhere. You'll get your corn bunting, coming out of your ears. So don't get, I panicked the first day when I saw the cornic buntings. I filmed it, and then I realized I'm going to get millions of pictures of it. So anyway, we made our way back down, heading this way. eventually 5 hours later, and I started seeing birds on dead trees, and you can't stop on these roads. So I had to circle back and forth as I did the first time, parked up outside the military area, no photographs. So I had to be careful where I was pointing my camera. And the first bird on the tree was a, don't know if I'm going to pronounce this correctly, Kretzmer's bunting. Beautiful looking bird. Eventually I got better and better pictures of it. I took pictures of it from there, from the car, and then a little bit of 4K crop video. A lot of heat haze as per usual. This is going to be a theme running through everything here. And then on the next tree along, an Eastern Orpheus bunting, again, so slightly better than my previous one, out in the open, some video, and I got the call this time where I messed it up the first time. So we're getting a bit of an improvement on all of our birds. I said I got flight shots of the cell bunting, which is great. I set it up on a post. It landed on a post and went off perfectly perpendicular. So I got off some shots, some flight shots. They should sharpen up pretty nicely. Very happy about that. I'm really being ballsy with my flight shots, taking a chance here. So, and a video, 4K crop of the Sportbein warbler. And one single shot, which is okay, of the Kretzmer's bunting flight shy as it was coming from the, I knew it was going to go down to the ground because I'd been watching them hunt, and they feed off the ground, so on the ground. So I knew it was going down and not up. So I knew to make sure my camera went down when I followed it. Off again to Ipsilou. So I thought, so driving along the road towards Ipsilou in the, where are we, in the west? Watch that sunflare. And past this monastery, and I just, wherever I'm off to this other one, and then I saw the buildings. I went, hang on, that looks really nice. And it was Saint Ignatius Monastery. And I thought, I've got to go down. There's going to be something down there, surely. And just before that, I was saying to myself, this happened in Tenerife. I said, right, it's time for a coffee. There's nothing open anywhere. There's no restaurants or cafes. And I thought, will I find a little cafeteria? And as if the Red Sea parted, shouldn't be talking like that, speaking like that outside a monastery. Anyway, it just felt like there was a helping hand from someone because there was a cafe, and get in there and have a coffee. And he didn't speak English, but he said, do you want, and I said, Americano. And he showed me the small cup or the double cup. And I said, yeah, that one, the big one. And this coffee was just the way I like it, licking the bottom of an ashtray strong. So I was in heaven. And these beautiful buildings, I drove down the road, and I'd stuck the camera out the window and I was filming all these beautiful buildings. And I couldn't tell how old they were because they looked like those buildings that are designed recently, built recently, but in the old style. And so I'm just keeping an eye on all the birds here. But I could see some of them had some damage, so they could have been there a very long time. But yeah, I had a little drive around and nothing going on. The only thing I really heard was a pheasant. So that goes on the list as a herd. And I thought, okay, we've tried it, we've had a look. I got some thumbnail photos for my videos. And I was driving up I was filming it all the time, filming as I was driving up. On the left-hand side, there's all these kind of rocks. And a bird flew out past the front of the car, just like the shrike did when I went to Fuerteventura a couple of years ago. It was like I was leaving, it was giving me a little sign, and it had a white stripe on the back, and it was dark, and I didn't know what it was. And it landed on the rock, and I was grabbing the camera, and it was one of the wheatears, the black-eared wheatears. And I took some shots, distance, heat hazed, and flicked a video. And what I got a few seconds of usable video. The video was slightly better. As I was coming up, I heard the sound, a familiar sound, and it jumped up, redbreast. I thought that's got to be a linnet. It was obviously had a bath because it came out, and but it was behind some reeds and it was preening and fluffing up. So I managed to film it. I managed to do okay. And sometimes a little bit of reed movement in front of it looks very natural, doesn't it? Adds to it, even though you might think I don't want it. That was nice. So all of these are going on the list. My list, I think I'm in the mid to high 80s at the moment. So I would have liked 100 species by today, but we've got maybe an hour and a half. If we go back on the roads we came, we might get lucky. Oh, and yeah, once I left there, went up into the hills, first thing I saw was checking everything, pulled out my little binoculars so I didn't have to lift my camera, but a dark back turtle dove. Heat haze again, but little one to go on the list. And later on I did hear one purring. Finally, we're going down, turtle dove. I've got to learn from this mistake. I was driving along and I saw a bird on this kind of wire fence, and I could see it was some sort of flashy coloured wheatear, shrike. And I pulled up next to it and I slowed down, get my camera ready, and it flew off in front of the car. I was so angry at myself because I should know they're not scared by cars that don't stop. So I should have gone past it, turned around, got myself ready, stuck the lens out the window from a distance and done it. Yeah, so a little mistake that cost me. So but I got a couple more shrikes later on. And let me just get this right. See the wheatear, good. And I pulled up next to this, actually where I saw sorry, that's, yep, it's swallows. I pulled up next to the same area where I saw the shrike, because I heard some warbler in the bushes, and the subporpine warbler gave me my best photos I've got of it yet. It was collecting nesting material, so I was trying to get a flight shot. I got one from a distance. I'll include it. I'll clean it up a little bit, see how it comes out. But the straight shots from the car, where I don't have to crop much, they're going to look ace, as you're seeing them now. Yeah, they're going to sharpen up really nicely. Very happy about that. And then the whitish blackbird landed on this dead tree, and I managed to. I think I went past it, turned around and came back, clocking where I'd left it, and got it. And it looked similar to the black-eared wheatear. Put it through Merlin. Now the Merlin said that it knows where you are in the world. So if there's any worry about, it looks similar, but like similar birds in America to here, but if it nails the country you're in from your location, it's more likely to get a more accurate ID. So the first one at the where are you? What was the Saint Ignatius, the first black-eared wheatear, said it was a Western. Yeah, I did this one as an Eastern. I don't know. I'm not going to go on the group and say, put the photos up and say, what's the difference? I don't want to harass people. I'll just see another birder and I'll ask him. So I might have got a Western and an Eastern, two birds in one. And just past that, a bird took off and went behind a tree. Luckily, a shrike again. Luckily, it landed on this hole in behind a tree. A branch was in front of it, but I managed to, for ID purposes, got some sharp shots. And then it flew out and landed. I got some better, more out in the open shots. None of these are pin sharp, but I got a little bit of 4K video, and that's apparently a masked shrike. So the masked shrike I got yesterday, which was behind a bush at the back, and it's terrible. It's not a keeper. It's just for ID purposes. I've vastly improved that one. So I was super happy with that one. So two shrikes there. This is the area. I've taken screenshots of the area. And that area then next along, there was another bird in the tree. I thought maybe a female of the wheatear, but it wasn't. It was another cell bunting, big old bird. But I think because it was preening, it was all fluffed out. And it just let me pull up next to it. It was chill as. All the cell buntings there have been really chill. I got my only one in Mallorca. You have to go to Devon and Cornwall to get them in the UK. But here I'm having my fill. It's been fantastic. And the flight shots as well. I'm not going to be able to edit any of these because I've still got vlogs I've got to do back from the UK. So a lot of these photos, I'm not going to have time to edit them until I get to the airport or back to the UK. So it's just patience. It's going to be fantastic. I'm going to have weeks worth of vlogs and photos to deal with, more so than Costa Rica and Malaysia. It's crazy. This place is unreal. Let's get down here. Right, finally, mast strike, cell bunting. Yep, finally got to the monastery. Here we are. And I basically said everything. Yeah, right. And then I went back to where I said I walked through to the other side. The first thing I saw, heard some commotion on the right. And there was a tit that looked like a marsh tit. And it was joined by another one on this metalwork. And I could see it had a grub in its beak, took off and landed on this wire, and took some photos, and it went down and landed searching for some more grubs to shove into its beak. So I thought, what kind of tit is that going to be? Put it through to the Merlin, and it was saying something, a chickadee, and I went, no, that's in America. So I typed in manually the location I'm at, and it said sombre tit, and I've heard that somebody say SOMBRE. So that's a new species for me. The black-eared wheatear landed right next to me, and it did that thing where you lift it up slowly, and halfway up, it's gone. Blast, and flew up over. And then I saw a blue rock thrush. Now, I couldn't get any good photos of it, and I don't have to worry because I've got astoundingly good photos from Menorca. If you look at my Menorca vlog, one of my, if not my one of my top 5 photos of all time, I'll put it up for you, where I've got the male and the female doing the male passing his food to the female, and they're touching beaks as they push through. I wish I'd kind of filmed that moment, but because I would have liked to have filmed that actual bit of behavior instead of just in photos. But the photos pin sharp, and what was happening was the male was passing all of its food to the female, because one bird can only fit in the nest, the hole in the rocks at one time. So he gave it to the female, and that was brilliant. I'm not going to better those photos here. So I got a record photo, really heat hazy with 2 grubs in it. And then the wheatear made a noise, black came back, landed on the post, and I got brave and set for pre-capture, watched it look left, watched it look right, lined it up, and it took off, and I got 2 takeoff shots. They put pretty decent. They'll sharpen up really nicely. Look at those. So I'm getting, I mean, it's getting to the point where flight shots are the new norm for me. I've got to have flight shots. Even though some of these birds I've never seen before, and there's nothing wrong with taking straight shots at lower ISO to get maximum quality, it's a bit boring now. I've got to step up my game, get my muscle memory into flight shot mode, because they just look that much. They separate you from just standard photographers. You know, I'm sorry, it sounds a bit egotistical, but no, I just want to improve my photography. There's no point in just sitting still and not improving your skill range. So yeah, that's the second part, and anything else I see, there might be a couple of little bits. I don't know if it's going to go mad crazy on the way home. It would be good to stay up. Oh, sorry, I hope that wasn't, have I got shadow? I apologise if I've got shadow on me, sorry. Really, that's unprofessional. That's something I've got to learn to do. I caught myself in a previous video doing it. I was really good in the beginning, and I keep doing it now by accident. So we're going to try and stay up high as long as possible, because when the sun goes down from where we are, you lose half an hour to 40 minutes of light for photography. So I'm going to try. I've got to go back because I don't want to drive in the dark. Not that I'm scared, but I want to get as much as possible. I want as much light as possible. I haven't eaten much today. Again, I'm going to have to go back and get my mixed grill. I'm just having such a good time that I've forgotten to eat, or don't want to. There's nowhere to eat anyway. So if I'd have found somewhere, I'd have had something. But there's been nothing, which is kind of good, because it's such a peaceful island. Yeah, definitely coming back here again. Okay, folks, we just hit sunset on day 3. So I better get this in, the last bit of the vlog to go. Of course, something might happen tonight with owls, and I'll be talking to you tomorrow morning as the catch up. Now, when we left the monastery, went down the other side, it's one way up on the right and one way back coming down. So you don't have that dangerous situation of 2 cars meeting coming the wrong way. And a yellow bird flew past me. Had to be the golden oriole. Let's get that right. Eurasian, because if you go to the Central America, the Caribbean, you're going to see the orioles, the yellow orioles from over there. Swallow. So I got out hoping to get a photo, but all I could hear, I had to listen to the call on YouTube and use Merlin and confirm. And what I did is I recorded some of it for you. There's two lots of audio there. There's one which is a kind of a song, and another one which is quite rough sounding, you know, a bit aggressive sounding. But I couldn't get a photo. I started seeing more rock thrush jumping about, but no photos. In fact, on the way back home, let's go back a bit. Sorry, I'm jumping the gun here a bit. I needed some fuel, so instead of going through the centre of the island, I decided to come back via the southern section just for the change of scenery. And I thought there might be more light coming from the sunset going around the southern section, so I'd get more chance for some last-minute bird photos. And first thing I saw after about 5 minutes, big old grey heron, like a Lancaster bomber, coming down the road, you know, straight at me. So I whacked on the brakes, got out, and as you can see, the photos are from behind. And then next up was a bird. I assume it was going to be a corn bunting, but as I passed quickly, I saw a kind of greyish head and a brown body, and I whacked on the brakes, and I thought it's surely going to be gone. But I reversed up, and it stayed there. Oh, and it's this. I thought it was the bird I'd seen earlier, the Tsiknias. Oh, let me get that right. Have I said that wrong? How did I pronounce that? The Tsiknias bunting. But this one was singing, and I was able to get the call on the Merlin app, and it was telling me it was an ortolan bunting. So I thought, did I get the first one wrong? And that was an ortolan bunting too. I've studied the images. They're both here. Both of those birds are here. Merlin ID'd it. And it does look slightly different. The ortolan bunting looks a bit more kind of stockier and a proper bunting beak. Definitely the ortolan for the final one. I'll have to study those closely, but I think I'm pretty correct on both of those being separate. Again, I will say, obviously, there's going to be the odd mistake. One of those will be what was the thing? Yeah, a rough-legged buzzard. I've been taking pictures of anything I see just in case, and this was another raptor, and all I could do was take a picture to see if it was anything. And I noticed the legs were rough, very feathery, and it went right up. And I checked ordinary common buzzards, and their legs are bare. So when I see some birders tonight, I'm going to get them to give me a confirmation of ID. And just a little thing I wanted to put, when I was leaving today, a farmer was taking all of his sheep through the village. They've got so many sheep on the island, so lamb must be on the menu. I had some lamb last night, so I assume, yeah. I've just thought of the thing from my big fat Greek wedding, where he says, I'm a vegetarian. They say, what do you mean you don't eat no meat? Okay, I make lamb. I get it now. Okay, yeah, there are sheep everywhere, and they're black, brown, and white. And you see them either going around with the bells on or sleeping. And as I was, basically the whole drive, multiple black-eared wheatears, but loads of blue rock thrush. I haven't got any good photos of them, but yeah, it felt like every half a mile, a black-eared wheatear flew across the road, and then every couple of miles, a blue rock thrush, and then every sort of 3 miles, a stone chat. And when I finally pulled in to get some fuel, there were 2 swallows on the wire looking slightly different. And I've been hoping for some red-rumped swallows sitting still, and I got them 2 by the petrol station. And you can clearly see how different they are to ordinary swallows. And they were nesting inside. They were flying into his garage and coming out. So and I remember when we got to the airport, where before we went outside, there were swallows flying inside the building and flying back out. It was great. It's so wonderful. I think that's it. Yeah, we've caught up with everything. I'm at 92 to 93 species now. I thought I'd crack 100. No worries. 93 is pretty good, considering when I go to Costa Rica, I've gotten about 100. And I think the other one was America. I think in America I got 100 to 150. I think I got 150 species spread between Los Angeles and Las Vegas. So 100 from a little Greek island is amazing, and I'm sure I might, I've got 4 days more, that I might get to 150 if I work very, very hard. That was one heck of a day, and we go again tomorrow. I'm going to go get some dinner now. I can't believe I've not fainted through hunger. Afternoon, folks. 4th day on Lesvos, and it was a heck of a start and a heck of a finish last night. Obviously, I finished the vlog last night, and I said if anything happens, I'll let you know. My intention was to see if the barn owl would show up that was mentioned going into a chimney last night. I read the instructions again of where the chap saw it and headed there, and he said it was the old, I think we're okay to say it. You know what, I won't, just in case. They say don't reveal any nesting sites, so I won't do it. But he mentioned it was going into a chimney. I say that, going into a chimney. And it goes in and comes out really quickly. I asked him where it was. This whole story changes now because I don't want to reveal the information. Anyway, luckily I did some practice with my flash gun, my flashlight, because it required me to set up ready my focal length and the flash power, the output. So what I did is I stood in the one spot, manual focused on the chimney, and fired off a couple of shots and adjusted, knowing that the bird was going to be much lighter. Obviously a barn owl was going to be much lighter than the chimney, so I had to make sure that I didn't overexpose it. So I slightly underexposed the chimney. About 20 minutes, half an hour, a little crowd formed, and then I was starting to get bored, as you do, and I started looking at my phone, and then, oh, there it is, and I just saw a sort of flick of white go in. I went, no chance, there's no way, I'm not getting that photo. I thought, well, let's at least get it out, coming out. So I leant against the wall and I put my camera up, and it must have literally been 15, 20 seconds later. I was looking through and I just saw a flutter of white, and my instinct, bang, it hit the shutter button, flash. And I'm like, what happened? I don't even know what happened. I looked and I'd got it. Yes, I zoomed in on the picture. There's a bit of blur on the wings. The underside, the legs are pin sharp, and there's a little bit of movement on the beak. Or I think what I focused on the back of the chimney from the left, where most of the bird was on the back of the chimney or the middle of the chimney from the right, and I was at an angle. So probably more of the front of the owl, the side of the angle, got exposed, well, sharp, and I just missed focus on the beak. But I'll take this shot. I got it all in frame. I will take that shot any day of the week, no problem. I'll keep that shot. So super happy. So I've got three owl species: barn owl, Scops owl, and long-eared owl. Yes, extremely happy with that. So I went home. I airdropped it to all the people that had the airdrop, and told them about my website, my YouTube channel. Not my website. I don't have a website. YouTube channel, and passed it on and ended the night on there. Went home a happy man, sent it to my wife. I actually did clean the image up because the eye was red. So I got rid of the red eye, and the problem was the eye was now dark. It looked a bit evil. So I cheekily put a tiny little white dot to show the reflection, and that just brought it to life. It's not cheating because my flash, I don't like Photoshop, but I didn't want to mess up my, I don't like to mess with images. What I see is what I got, but a flash creates an unnatural look. So I took away the unnatural looking bit. Okay, I hope you accept.